Based on the 2003 comic of the same name by The Walking Dead creator Robert Kirkman, Amazon Prime Video's Invincible has the potential to hook audiences with its superhero mystery. But in a market dominated by cape stories and shared universes, this animated series seems to take a backward approach to its material. Where the comics satirize the superhero genre, the show plays its stories and ideas completely straight as it fills the screen with grim ultra-violence. That doesn't always work given its otherwise kid-friendly presentation. The story follows Mark Grayson, voiced by Steven Yeun. He's a high schooler living in the shadow of his father, who also happens to be the world's greatest superhero, Omni-Man. Superheroes are a dime a dozen in this universe, so when Mark's own flight and super strength powers finally begin to manifest, he takes on the mantle of Invincible and enters a world of responsibilities and complicated friendships. It's a distinctly Spider-Man-like story. Mark also shares a last name with comics' most famous sidekick, Dick Grayson, Batman's first Robin, and the first episode even features a parody Justice League. These intentional Marvel and DC echoes make it easy to introduce new characters in a world that feels familiar, even though it isn't. The bright colors take their cue from Cory Walker and Ryan Ottley's vibrant comic artwork, but they make for a jarring contrast with all the blood and guts, and the story ties itself to the familiar at every turn, leaning on superhero tropes and archetypes without ever subverting or commenting on them. On the plus side, the action scenes are lively, coherent, and occasionally inventive, but they also pose their own problems for how the plot unfolds. Initially, it seems like the show might deflate its self-seriousness, like DC's equally bloody animated Harley Quinn series. But right from the opening scene, it features over-the-top carnage and sincere melodrama unfolding side by side without ever winking at the audience. It can't help but feel a little disconnected.
It's about time.
Nolan Grayson, aka Omni-Man, is the show's mustached Superman send-up, and he's a major part of the plot. But while voice actor J.K. Simmons is a proven comedic and dramatic talent, his performance ends up oddly monotone, so his skills feel misused.
Were you nervous?
The show often stops to focus on Nolan's stern, imposing stare, but it leaves little room to peel back any complex layers to his character in the way the comics did. This approach affects the title character too. Mark stands up to bullies at school and crushes on pretty girls, but he feels like he's going through the motions of a standard coming-of-age story instead of carving a unique path in a familiar genre. Yeun, like Simmons, is a fantastic performer, but the show offers him little by way of humor or frustration or anything that might make him feel like a real teenager burdened by expectations.
Salt on the wound, Dad.
There are some exceptions along the way, like Mark's mother Debbie, played by Sandra Oh. She's more assertive and playful than her comic book counterpart.
You need to decide what kind of hero you want to be.
There's also Jason Mantzoukas as the wisecracking teenage hero Rex Splode. But their scenes are the only times Invincible feels truly energetic outside of its action. In spite of its tonal problems, the first 3 episodes introduce an intriguing plot that's anchored by a character-centric mystery taken straight from the comics. Whether the show does this story justice remains to be seen, but the first 3 episodes are promising on that front, even if the characters feel half-baked. Its biggest internal conflict is that Invincible wants to be deadly serious about colorful superheroes that are usually handled with a more self-aware comedy tone, but it doesn't have much to say about this approach or the more famous characters it draws upon. It's not a dud by any stretch. The action is mostly exciting, and the mystery feels like it's ramping up towards a challenging reveal for the main characters. But so far, it feels like a superhero story we've seen plenty of times before. That's disappointing when it has the potential to be so much more.
Leave him alone!
What are you looking at?
With its straight-faced take on a satirical comic, the first 3 episodes of Invincible make for a grim introduction. The show insists on framing its absurd ultra-violence completely seriously, and its characters aren't developed enough to fill the enormous gap between approach and appearance. However, its central mystery offers enough questions and enough promise to have a shot at keeping people watching, at least for a week or two. For more, check out our reviews of Zack Snyder's Justice League and the premiere of Superman and Lois. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
Follow me. Slow down. Land. I said land. Stop! Get up.
I'm actually getting used to this a little.
That's not good.